January 2026. Mortgage rates are hovering around 6%. Home prices remain near all-time highs. The median home costs $410,000, and everyone around you is saying the same thing. Rent is throwing money away. You need to buy a house, build equity, stop making your landlord rich. But here's what they're not telling you. The math doesn't work. Not anymore. Maybe it never did. I'm going to show you the calculation that real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and your well-meaning parents don't want you to see. The opportunity cost of home ownership, the hidden costs that eat your wealth, and why the smartest financial move you can make right now might be to keep renting. By the end of this video, you'll understand why buying a house in today's market isn't an investment. It's a very expensive consumption decision dressed up as wealth building. And let's start with the narrative they've drilled into your head since childhood. Rent is throwing money away. You've heard it from your parents, your friends, financial advisors on TV, the real estate agent who wants her commission. The logic seems airtight. When you rent, your monthly payment goes to your landlord. You build nothing, you own nothing. At the end of 30 years, you have zero to show for it. But when you buy, your monthly payment builds equity. You own an asset. At the end of 30 years, you own a house worth potentially millions. You can pass it to your children. It's the American dream. Except that's not how the math actually works, because they're comparing your total rent payment to only part of your mortgage payment. They're ignoring the interest, the property taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, the opportunity cost. And when you account for everything, the picture changes completely. Let me show you what home ownership actually costs. Let's use real numbers from today's market. January 2026. You're buying a $400,000 house. You put down 20%. That's $80,000. Your mortgage is $320,000 at 6.1% interest for 30 years. Your monthly principal and interest payment is $1,942. But that's not your full cost. You also pay property taxes, let's say 1.2% annually. That's $400 per month. Homeowners insurance, $150 per month. Maintenance and repairs. The standard estimate is 1% of home value annually. That's $333 per month. HOA fees, if applicable, let's say $200 per month for this example. Your actual monthly cost, $3,025. Compare that to renting an equivalent property for $2,500 per month. Not as dramatic a difference as they made it seem, is it? But it gets worse, because we haven't talked about the biggest cost yet. Here's where the real damage happens. That $80,000 down payment. When you buy a house, you take $80,000 and lock it into one asset, real estate. But what if you didn't do that? What if you kept renting and invested that $80,000 in the stock market? The S&P 500 has returned approximately 10% annually since its inception in 1928. Over any 30-year period, that number has held remarkably consistent. Let's be conservative. Let's use 8% annual returns to account for fees and taxes. $80,000 invested in an S&P 500 index fund, earning 8% annually for 30 years, grows to $806,000. $806,000. But wait, we're not done. Because every month you're spending $525 more on your mortgage than you would on rent. $3,025 for the house minus $2,500 for rent. If you invest that $525 monthly difference in the same S&P 500 fund for 30 years at 8% returns, that adds another $779,000. Total opportunity cost, $1.585 million. $1.585 million that you gave up by buying instead of renting and investing. Now let's look at what your house is worth after 30 years. Real estate agents love to talk about home appreciation. Your $400,000 house could be worth $800,000 in 30 years, maybe $1 million. Let's look at the data. Robert Shiller, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, conducted the most comprehensive study of home prices in the 20th century. After adjusting for inflation, home prices appreciated an average of 0.2% annually. 0.2%. But let's be generous. Let's use the 30-year average from the S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index, 4% annual appreciation. Your $400,000 house, appreciating at 4% annually for 30 years, is worth $1.297 million. Sounds great. Until you remember, you still owe money on it. After 30 years of payments on your $320,000 mortgage at 6.1%, you've paid off the loan. But you've paid $279,000 in interest. Total paid, $599,000. Add in the $80,000 down payment, $679,000 total into the house. Add in 30 years of property taxes at $400 per month, $144,000. Add in 30 years of insurance at $150 per month, $54,000. Add in 30 years of maintenance at $333 per month, $119,880. Add in 30 years of HOA fees at $200 per month, $72,000. Total cost, $1,068,880. Your house is worth $1.297 million. You spent $1.069 million to own it. Net gain, $228,120. Now compare that to the renting and investing scenario. 30 years of rent at $2,500 per month, increasing 3% annually, cost you $1.45 million. But you have $1.585 million in investment gains from your down payment and monthly difference. Net position, $135,000 positive. Wait, the homeowner came out slightly ahead by $93,000 over 30 years, but we're still not done because we haven't factored in selling costs, capital gains taxes, and the fact that your house needs a new roof, new HVAC, new appliances, major repairs that the 1% maintenance budget doesn't always cover, and we haven't factored in the big one, liquidity. Here's what they don't tell you about homeownership. Your wealth is trapped. That $1.3 million house, you can't access that money without selling. And selling costs 6% in realtor commissions. That's $77,820 gone immediately, plus closing costs, title insurance, transfer taxes, another $10,000 to $20,000. You can only sell when the market allows. If there's a downturn, you wait. If you need to move for a job, you're stuck or you sell at a loss. Meanwhile, the renter with $1.585 million in index funds, that money is liquid, accessible, flexible. Need money for an emergency? Sell some shares. Want to move across the country for a better job? Move. No house to sell, no realtor commissions. Want to take advantage of an investment opportunity? You have capital available. The homeowner has $1 million on paper and no flexibility. The renter has real wealth they can actually use. Let's talk about the ugliest part of homeownership, the interest. On a $320,000 mortgage at 6.1% for 30 years, you pay $279,000 in interest, $279,000 to the bank. And here's the kicker. In the early years of your mortgage, almost all of your payment goes to interest. Year one of your $1,942 monthly payment, $1,631 is interest. Only $311 goes to principal. You're paying 5 times more in interest than you are in equity. Year 5? Still $1,502 to interest, $440 to principal. It takes 15 years before you're paying more toward principal than interest. 15 years. During those 15 years, you've paid $191,000 in interest and only $66,000 in principal. You've paid the bank nearly 3 times what you've paid yourself. This is the system they don't explain when they talk about building equity. But what about the mortgage interest deduction, they ask? That saves you so much money? Not anymore. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 raised the standard deduction to $25,900 for married couples. Your mortgage interest in year 1 is $19,572. Add $4,800 in property taxes. That's $24,372. You're barely above the standard deduction. Your tax benefit is minimal, maybe $1,000 to $2,000 annually. And that benefit shrinks every year as your interest payments decline. Meanwhile, the renter investing in index funds gets taxed on capital gains at preferential rates and can harvest tax losses to offset gains. The tax advantage of homeownership is vastly overstated in today's tax environment. There's an invisible cost to homeownership that never appears on any calculator. Loss of flexibility. Want to move to a different city for a better job? As a renter, you give notice and move. As a homeowner, you list the house, wait for buyers, negotiate, deal with inspections, hope nothing falls through, pay commissions, coordinate closing, then move. Average time to sell a house, 55 to 70 days in a normal market. Longer in a downturn. Want to downsize because your kids moved out? Same process. Want to try living in a different neighborhood? Same process. Every life change requires a major transaction with 5-figure costs. Renters have freedom, homeowners have friction. And in a career environment where changing jobs every 3 to 5 years is normal and potentially necessary for income growth, that flexibility has enormous value. The homeowner who can't relocate for a better opportunity is leaving money on the table. Money that doesn't show up in any rent versus buy calculator. Let's talk about what that 1% maintenance budget actually means. 1% of a $400,000 house is $4,000 per year. $333 per month. Sounds reasonable. Until reality hits. New roof, $15,000 to $25,000. HVAC replacement, $8,000 to $15,000. Foundation repair, $10,000 to $40,000. Plumbing emergency, $2,000 to $10,000. These expenses don't spread evenly. They hit all at once. And they're not optional. If your roof is leaking, you fix it. If your AC breaks in summer, you replace it. The homeowner with no emergency fund gets crushed by these costs. Many end up putting them on credit cards, paying 18% interest on top of their 6% mortgage. The renter calls the landlord. Repair happens at no cost. Now, let's talk about why this is even worse in January 2026. Home prices have increased 1% nationally in the past year, according to Redfin. That's essentially flat when you account for inflation. But here's what's terrifying. After one of the fastest rate hiking campaigns in 40 years, mortgage rates are still above 6%. They're projected to stay there through 2026. The Mortgage Bankers Association predicts 6.4% rates all year. Fannie Mae is slightly more optimistic at 5.9%. Either way, you're paying 6% or more to borrow money. And here's the trap. If rates drop to 5% in a few years, everyone refinances. Good for them. But if rates stay high or go higher, you're locked in. And if rates drop significantly, home prices will spike as buyers flood back into the market. You'll face increased competition and higher prices. The current market offers the worst of both worlds, high prices and high rates. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But owning a home feels different. It's yours. You can paint the walls, plant a garden, build memories. I understand that. And I'm not saying those things have no value, but you need to understand what you're paying for those feelings. Based on the math we just walked through, you're paying approximately $1.4 million over 30 years for the privilege of painting your walls whatever color you want. $1.4 million. Because that's the difference between the opportunity cost of buying versus renting and investing. If you're okay with that, fine. But make that decision with your eyes open. Don't tell yourself you're building wealth when you're actually sacrificing wealth for emotional satisfaction. There's nothing wrong with buying a home because you want to own a home, but call it what it is, a consumption choice, not an investment. Want to know who builds real wealth? People who keep their housing costs low and invest the difference aggressively. The person who rents a $1,500 apartment instead of buying a $400,000 house and invests the difference doesn't just have more money, they have more options, more security, more freedom. They can retire early because their money is working for them, not trapped in a house. They can take career risks because they're not chained to a mortgage payment. They can weather economic downturns because their wealth is liquid and diversified. The homeowner who spent 30 years building equity has a house and no flexibility. The renter who spent 30 years building a portfolio has freedom and real wealth. But housing is a hedge against inflation, they say. Your mortgage payment stays the same while rents increase. Partially true. Your principal and interest stay the same, but property taxes increase, insurance increases, maintenance costs increase, HOA fees increase, and they're all tied to home values and inflation, just like rent. Meanwhile, stocks have historically outpaced inflation by 6 to 7 percentage points. They're a much better inflation hedge than real estate. So what should you do? If you're in the market to buy right now, stop. Run the numbers for your specific situation. Calculate your true cost of ownership, include everything. Down payment, mortgage, interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, HOA fees, opportunity cost. Calculate the cost of renting an equivalent property and investing the difference. Use realistic return assumptions. 8% for stocks, 3 to 4% for home appreciation. Factor in how long you plan to stay. If it's less than 5 years, buying almost never makes sense. Factor in your career trajectory. If you might need to relocate, buying is a trap. Factor in your liquidity needs. If you need accessible capital, buying locks you out. Most importantly, understand that a house is not an investment. It's a place to live, and usually a very expensive one. Here's what's interesting about January 2026. Stock market valuations are high, but not extreme. The S&P 500 offers reasonable long-term return potential. Meanwhile, housing remains near all-time high prices with high financing costs. The risk-reward of stocks versus real estate has rarely favored stocks more clearly. The person who chooses to rent cheaply and invest heavily right now is positioning themselves for significant wealth accumulation. The person who stretches to buy at current prices and rates is taking enormous risk for minimal upside. Let's destroy one final myth. The idea that you're building equity while the renter is throwing money away. In year one of your mortgage, you pay $23,304. $19,572 goes to interest, $3,732 to principal, $3,732 in equity. The renter paying $2,500 per month pays $30,000 total. But if they invest even half the difference between their rent and your total housing cost, they're building wealth faster than you're building equity. Equity is not wealth. Equity is a number on paper trapped in an illiquid asset. Wealth is liquid capital you can actually use. Here's something nobody talks about. The lifestyle cost of home ownership. Your weekend? Mowing the lawn, fixing the fence, cleaning the gutters, painting the deck? Your money? Going to repairs instead of experiences? Your stress? Hoping nothing major breaks because you don't have $10,000 sitting around for a new roof? The renter spends their weekend doing whatever they want. Their discretionary income goes to experiences, investments, or savings. Their stress is limited to monthly rent, which is predictable. Homeownership isn't just financially expensive, it's expensive in time and stress. So why doesn't anyone tell you this? Because the entire economy is built on homeownership. Real estate agents make 6% commissions on every sale. Your $400,000 house generates $24,000 in commissions. Mortgage brokers get paid for originating loans. Billions in fees annually. Banks make $279,000 in interest on your 30-year mortgage. Home builders need buyers. Furniture stores need homeowners. Repair companies need maintenance work. The government collects property taxes. Title companies collect fees. Insurance companies collect premiums. Everyone profits from you buying a house, except you. So they sell you the American dream. They tell you renting is throwing money away. They tell you homeownership is the path to wealth. And most people believe it because their parents believed it, because everyone around them believes it. But the math tells a different story. I'm not telling you never to buy a house. I'm telling you to understand what you're actually doing when you buy. You're choosing lifestyle and emotion over financial optimization. You're choosing stability and control over flexibility and liquidity. You're choosing to spend more for the privilege of ownership. None of that is wrong. But it's a choice, and it's a costly choice. If you want to maximize wealth building, the math is clear. Rent cheap, invest the difference, build liquid wealth. Maintain flexibility. If you want to own a home for emotional reasons, fine. But don't lie to yourself that it's an investment, it's consumption. The person who buys a $400,000 house is spending money on housing. The person who rents and invests is building wealth. 30 years from now, the homeowner has a house worth $1.3 million and no liquidity. The renter has a portfolio worth multiple millions and complete freedom. Which would you rather have? The answer depends on your priorities. But at least now you know the real math. The math they don't want you to see. If this video changed how you think about homeownership, subscribe. Because the next video will show you exactly what to do with the money you're not sinking into a house. Rent is not throwing money away. A 30-year mortgage at 6% is throwing money away. The difference? The renter investing gets wealthy. The homeowner gets a house. Now you know.